Hi there and welcome to you in this new MakeSenS video. Today we are going to put aside for just a while the coding stuff and the game design stuff, and we are going to explore a little bit the 3D modeling tools in Unreal Engine. I have to say I've been a little bit reluctant since the introduction of these tools in Unreal. It was at the end of Unreal 4. I've been a bit reluctant to use them because I didn't want to spend time learning new tools for modeling when I already know how to make modeling in proper 3D software like 3ds Max or Blender. But actually, for simple operation, for simple things, the 3D modeling tools in Unreal are quite efficient, and it's worth the price to take a little bit of time to learn how to use them, because it's very simple to learn actually, and you will gain a lot of time for customizing your models, especially for customizing external models, such as the one you can get from the marketplace or from Megascans. And yeah, actually there are all the necessary tools available and simple to use. And even if it's not, of course, as complete as a 3D editing software, it's not as accurate, but for a lot of operations that you want, for a lot of needs, it will be clearly enough. The things to know is when you're using 3D models from external libraries, from Megascans, as I said, from the Epic marketplace, from any other game 3D models libraries, the models are not always suited to be used, to be convenient to use for level designing and for level art. Because even if they can be high quality, they are not always made with a modular priority in mind. And it's better to have standardized and normalized dimension for your models to gain time when you are creating some structures inside your levels. Also, they can have some little flaws that you can easily correct inside Unreal, instead of going in your 3D software, readjusting the models and exporting them and re-importing them inside Unreal and checking if the result is okay. Today we are going to see how to adjust models from Megascans, especially, and to make them convenient to use as 3D modular bricks. I can show you an example. You can see these wood beams. I imported them from Bridge. This is models wood beams I imported from Bridge, and you can see they all have different size. They are mostly the same kind of scale, but they all have different lengths and wideness and dimension. Overall dimension are not similar, and if you want to make structure from this kind of models, you will have some difficulties. You will not difficulties especially, but you will lose time because they are not aligned, make with the grid size in mind. And you can easily edit them to create, where are they? Here. Normalized and standardized beams with all the same length. Here they are all 4 meter length, and they all have the same wideness, and then it will be way more easy to create structures and to adjust them and to swap the models, to relocate them, and disabling the grid or going in very small grid size, which is not great because when you have to make adjustment later, if you have to replace the mesh, you will have to adjust them again and again. So it's better to have modular bricks that are built with the grid in mind. Also, we are going to create a full set of, we are going to see how to create a full set of modules from one static mesh, which is something that you can do with 3D modeling tools quite easily. And we are not going to explore how to create a model from scratch, but it's totally possible to do it, and you can get good results. Why using 3D assets from external package or from external libraries in your game? Well, it's about time optimization and resource optimization, because if something already exists and something you need already exists, well, you don't hesitate to use it, especially in the pre-production stage. If you are prototyping your game, you just need placeholders, and even in the production phase, you will gain a lot of time, especially in small indie teams. And even if you have people in your team dedicated to 3D modeling, 3D artists, you will prefer to give them tasks that are you prefer to ask them to make models that are unique for your games, instead of losing time to redoing something that already exists. And yeah, you will gain a lot of time by not modeling and warping and texturing models. In the case of a very specific 3D direction, art style direction for your game, you might not find good libraries suited for your game, with a model suited for your game. In this case, of course, you will have to create all the models by yourself or with people in your team. But even then, even in this case, for the prototyping stage, you will gain a lot of time by using 3D assets from external sources. To illustrate what my words, I can show you that here I imported this seaside town package from the marketplace. It's here. I imported it many years ago, and I still use some models from this package because yeah, they look quite nice. But anyway, the same method and the same problem will arise with many modules, many packages you can get from the marketplace. And to illustrate what I mean, if we go here and we take, for example, this facade, you can see that first the pivot point is placed in a weird place. And if you duplicate this model, you will see that actually, you see, it's not aligned on the grid. The dimension of the models are not aligned on the grid, and so you will have overlap, or you will lose a lot of time to adjust it manually with a very small grid size. in order to have a proper seams. And this is time consuming, this is not great. It's better to have good modeling, good modules. And if you take this one, you can see again the pivot point is placed in a weird place. And if you duplicate your pipe, you will see it doesn't tile correctly. The reason is if we open this model, you can see the dimension here. It's 233 centimeter high, which is not a round number, which is problematic when you want modules, bricks of like Lego bricks that you can place easily. And what you have to do first is to duplicate your models. You will prefer to keep the original models just in case you need them for whatever reason. And so the first things to do, for example, if we want to modify this pipe, we can duplicate it in one of our folder. So we make a copy, and now we can place it in the level. And now we are going to edit it in order in order to be grid aligned. So you go here and you go in the modeling tools, and you have this panel, and we will jump into the 2D view, and we will go in the mesh section, and we will select the triangle edit tool, and you can see it's quite a low poly asset, so the vertex editing tool will be fine enough. So the first thing is we are going to put the low part on the ground at 0, so we can disable the grid and adjust the model in order to be just at 0. And this one we'll have to raise it until we reach 250 centimeters, which is way more easy to manipulate than 333. And that's all you have to do for this simple mesh. You click accept, and you will have to resave your model, but let's just first check by re-enabling the grid and duplicating the mesh that now it's tiling correctly. So a very simple modification on your mesh will save you a lot of time when you will do 3D modeling. And something you have to to not forget is to adjust also the collision. This model already has collision because I made them, or maybe it was already in the package, I don't remember. But now we modified the geometry. You can see if you show the collision that the collisions are not following the geometry anymore. So let's jump into a side view. We can select, we can remove the snapping. We can select the collisions, adjust them, and the central one. We scale it a little bit, and that's fine. You can save now. So as you can see, very simple and very quick to customize your models or the models you are imported for your project. Now we can do the same with models you're importing from Bridge. For example, you can download this and add it to your project. It's an old wood board. And from this board we are first going to normalize them the same way as we did with the pipe. And then we can create modules in order to make a wood flooring, sorry. So your model will be imported in the Megascans folder, and you will have this nice boards, but the boards are all different sizes, as you can see, and this is not very practical to create modules. So the first things we are going to do is we are going to duplicate them in order to keep the original one, and we are going to modify the duplicate ones. So don't modify this one, that's the original one. Take one of this beam, place it on your level, and you will see that this is, even if it's medium quality here in Bridge, you will see that it's quite a high poly model. If we go to the modeling tool, or even if we go into the wireframe view, you can see there are quite a lot of polygon in this simple board. So editing the vertices is not possible. Well, I mean, it's possible, but if you want to change the overall size, you will lose a lot of time. So the solution here is to use you go into the deform section and you use lattice, and you put the lattice number of points. You can see here by default I think it's 5. You can put it at the minimum, meaning 2, and again you will switch to the side view. You can press F to focus. We are going to make this board 1 meter long or wide, depends on your perspective, your point of view. And for that we are going to select these control points and to move them. So again you can remove the grid to have better control, and you can see that the control points are not visible in the 2D view. It's a bit problematic, so be sure in the 3D view that you have all the points you want and not just some of them. And we can move this in order to be just a little less than 1 meter. Yeah, it's fine because it's broken at the end, so it's okay. And we also want to make them a little bit wider. And you can see in a few operations, in a few clicks, you can get the result you want, meaning normalized asset that will be very easy to use later. So when it's done, you accept. You can see here the pivot point is on the bottom, it's fine, and it's centered, so we don't have to modify it. So when you are done with this, don't remember to save your model, and don't forget to save it and to adjust the collision. I think here there are no collision when you import it. Yeah, so we can create a new collision. This is a very simple asset. You can just have a box and you can save. So when you are done with this, I made the other board here to save time, so I can delete these ones. And now we are going to make modules for our wood flooring. For that we can re-enable the grid, we can put it in a bigger grid size. And you can place your assets. You can see my pivot point is on the center because it's wood beam I imported from SenS project, but it's the same. And you can see all my models are now in a very convenient size, and you can place them very easily in order to create a first wood floor module. We can jump into the 2D view. So what size it is? Yeah, let's move it. And you can see now it's 1 meter large and or long, and 50 centimeter large. So it's a good size for first module. I go into my demo folder. This is important, the folder where you are working. And with all the boards selected, we can go into the where it is. Yeah, you can use merge, or you can go into mesh and use union. It's the same result. What is important over there is output folder, and it can generate folder for you when you're creating new assets in the modeling tool, or you can use the folder where you are inside the content browser. So we will use this folder and we will merge all the assets, and now you can see that, okay, we want a new object. You can set a name here. Let's say wood flooring module 1. And you want to output a static mesh, and you can delete the assets that you used inside your level, but it's not very important. Then you click accept, and you have here your new module. Very nice. Something you have to take care. Here my pivot point is automatically set in the center, but you can adjust it by going here. And now we are going to adjust this model because it's one that has been replaced inside the level. You can okay, yeah, here it is. You can see it's centered, perfectly centered, but I would prefer for my wood flooring to have the pivot point on the top. So we put it at 2.5 centimeters because my wood board are 5 centimeters high, and I will accept like that. The reason I put the pivot point here is I want the pivot point to be at the ground level. So now if I place my wood module, my wood flooring module inside the level, you can see it's automatically placed on the ground level I want. So yeah, this is one way to make modules. You can create a lot of other modules. And you have also to adjust the collision, of course. When you are merging several assets into one, usually if you open here your asset, you will see that collision have been replaced. Oh no, in this case they are merged correctly because all my modules had already collision. But if they don't have, it might create something weird, and it usually switch from simple collision to. I show you because you might encounter this issue. Usually, when you merge assets, it will change the collision for the merged asset to complex collision, meaning it's using the geometry as a collision model, and it's very bad because for performance reason, because you have a ton of polygons to be computed for just for the collision, and it's better to have a simplified collision. So just change this on project default or use simple collision. And here you can, it's a choice. You can consider it's fine to have 5 boxes, or you can prefer to make one simple mesh, collision mesh for the wall module. And you just have to remove the collision and to create a new one, and this box will surrender your model very finely. Another thing I wanted to show you is from these modules. You might think, okay, the material is very red, I want something more brownish. So it's very easy. You can just go to the material used by this mesh. It's an instance from some of the basic materials used in with a 3D model, Megascan models. And you can just copy your instance in your mesh folder, and you go there and you change the material here. We can rename it just to don't be confused. Custom, and you can use the custom model now. And if you open your material with the Megascan, you can easily adjust the color and other parameters here. For example, we can change the color to be more brownish, more yellow actually, and save it. And yeah, it's a bit too much yellow maybe. So let's make less saturation. Yeah, it looks better for me. The first one is very reddish. And so you have a first brick for your module collection. And you can create variation of this as much as you need. I can show you in SenS. Where are they? Yeah, here. So yes, you start from this wood boards, very chaotic wood boards. You get the nice normalized wood board, and then you have the possibility to create all these modules. All these modules very convenient to use them and to place in your levels.